200 chimpanzees. One troop, stable for 20 years. Then it split and started hunting itself. Within a day, the headlines had decided what it meant. Proof that war is in our blood. That great power rivalry and nuclear brinkmanship are just apes with missiles. We went looking for whether that holds. It mostly doesn't. And what's actually going on is stranger than the instinct story. Because if a chimpanzee war proves we're built for it, there's an animal that should prove the opposite, and it is exactly as related to us. Hold that. First, the strong version, taken seriously. The primatologist Richard Wrangham argued we're the survivors of a 5 million year habit of lethal aggression. And the field data is real. At Ngogo, chimpanzees killed 18 neighbors, expanded their territory by roughly a fifth, and afterwards had more surviving infants. That is resource competition, rewarded. So far, the mirror holds. But the same data has a crack running through it. When the anthropologist Brian Ferguson audited every recorded chimp killing, 59% of them came from just 2 places, in 2 short windows. A 5 million year instinct that shows up in 2 clusters isn't an instinct. It's an event. And there's still one thing we do that no instinct explains at all. Later. And the cousin we were holding? Bonobos. As close to us as chimps are. No confirmed lethal warfare. Franz Duval called us the bipolar ape. A chimp is a mirror. So is a bonobo. We only ever hold up the one that frightens us. Then it gets worse for the instinct story. Across 21 mobile foraging societies, the closest model of how we lived for most of our species, existence, most lethal violence was personal, feuds, accidents, one person, and one grudge. Not organized war. War shows up late in the record, with farms, walls, and states. In 1986, an international panel of scientists put it formally. It is scientifically incorrect to say we have inherited a tendency to make war. Not because we're gentle, because the wiring doesn't decide the war. That's the obvious rebuttal. Here's the real one. Kenneth Waltz showed that wars are explained less by what's inside people than by the structure nations sit inside. No referee, no one to call. Robert Jervis showed rivals spiral by misreading each other. Defensive moves read as threats. That isn't a snarl. It's a misunderstanding with no exit. And the nuclear part, the supposed peak of the primate story, is where it collapses completely. Thomas Schelling defined brinkmanship as the deliberate creation of a recognizable risk. The 2018 Nuclear Posture Review calls it tailored deterrence with flexible capabilities. Read that again. Nuclear brinkmanship is the most deliberately engineered behavior our species has ever produced. It is the opposite of instinct. A chimp bares its teeth. A state writes the teeth into doctrine and rehearses them. The scientist who documented that chimpanzee war said one sentence almost no headline carried, that we should not use it to suggest war between human groups is inevitable. The mirror was never showing us our destiny. It was showing us our excuse. The instinct is real. Status, us and them, overconfidence are raw material. But the same species built the longest stretch without great power war in modern memory, and holds its largest wars together with taught rules, not bared teeth. The primate is in us. The diplomacy isn't a costume over it. It's the thing we invented so the primate wouldn't get the last word. Next, we'll follow what happens when the institutions holding it back begin to fail.